want to say my name. Hi, and thank you for tuning into this channel. Today, we are going to discuss whether or not an ABA approved law school or a CBA approved law school is the best law school choice for you. We will discuss the major differences and distinctions, and hopefully you'll be able to walk away with enough information to make that determination. The major differences that we will cover include the admissions process for each, the faculty and programming differences, the cost and tuition differences, the impact it has on your license, and the bar pass rates, because those are hugely important as well. So without any further ado, we'll get right down to it. This video will be short and sweet, but it should give you a bunch of information so you can really make this decision, okay? The ABA approved law school is a law school that is approved by the American Bar Association. The American Bar Association is a private association that is authorized by the U.S. Department of Education to regulate legal education throughout the nation. It's been around for a very long time. And approximately 200 or so law schools are ABA approved law schools. And those have the distinction of being approved by that nationally recognized association. In California, there are approximately 20 ABA approved or accredited law schools in the state of California. CBA accredited law schools are law schools that are accredited, but they are accredited by the California State Bar Committee of Examiners. So they're regionally accredited as opposed to being nationally accredited. And in California, there are approximately, according to the State Bar website, 23 or so of those CBA accredited law schools in California. When determining which school is better for you, either the ABA school or the CBA school, there are important differences that need to be considered. First would be the admission requirements. For an ABA school, the admission requirements can be a lot more stringent. The ABA school will require a 4-year college degree, will require a competitive GPA, as well as a competitive score on the LSAT exam, while a CBA school will require a minimum of at least 2 years of college coursework, and that would satisfy the pre-legal education requirement. The LSAT generally is required to be taken. However, a lot of emphasis is not put on the score because generally the CBA schools have a view that standardized testing may not really be an adequate reflection of someone's capabilities. So there is a lot more leeway when it comes to the LSAT score at a CBA school. Second consideration would be programming, how the actual law program will work. The characteristics of the program, at least at an ABA school, generally, the students are a lot younger. The average age is about 25 years old. The class size, entering class size would be about 300, somewhere in there. It's normally a larger school. And the flexibility of the program is kind of limited, meaning that it's traditionally a 3-year full-time program, and there aren't very many alternatives, generally speaking, right? There aren't part-time options or online options. However, that may be very different now with COVID-19 as far as the online options. And then finally, with an ABA school, the faculty is pretty much dedicated. So they're pretty much full-time academics, which has its own, pros and cons, but that's what you can expect from a professor at an ABA school. The difference of CBA school and those same, that same criteria, those same factors, is that a CBA school, as far as the student age, it's a lot older. They're average mid-30s, 37-ish, I believe was the range. The class size, the entering class size can be as small as 40 students. So that's a very small and intimate setting, which, may work out to where you have more time to connect with your professor in such a small setting, the program is generally a lot more flexible. So if you need flexibility, and that's my dog in the background, if you need flexibility, then that would be a plus, meaning that he's playing with a toy now, meaning that he would, there would allow part-time programming, nighttime classes, online classes, because it's more geared toward the student that has other obligations. So whether that's other family obligations or they're working full time, it's more geared toward a student who has that kind of obligations, because it's really meant to provide more access. And then as far as faculty, the faculty is very different, because with a CBA school, the faculty generally not dedicated academics. They're really practicing attorneys, or either judges who are on the bench, or either maybe retired, but you get more practical knowledge from the CBA professors, because they're generally practicing attorneys. Because I'm tired, we're just going to keep going. The cost of attendance between the two, very different and super significant and important to consider. For a CBA school, it's a lot cheaper, bottom line. CBA school for all 4 years could average around $80,000, and that's for a total of 4 years. And for an ABA school, it's about, depending, it varies, but $70,000 for 1 year is not unheard of. It's kind of like the average. So the cost of attendance is huge and very, very different. And then the bar pass rate is something else to consider. So when making this choice, of course, whatever school that you are considering, you want to find out their specific bar pass rate, but also note that generally you have a higher bar pass rate with ABA approved schools than you do with CBA approved schools. There can be several reasons for that, but generally that's the rule. Some of the reasoning is that if you're at a CBA school, you may be juggling other obligations. So that, it's just kind of the nature of the beast that you might have a lower pass rate, but it's something to really consider. And then finally, the impact on your license at a CBA school. Well, I'll start at an ABA school, because it's accredited by like a national body, right? For any school in the nation, that if you graduate from an ABA approved law school, you can sit for the bar in any state. That's not the same for a CBA school. So you graduate from a CBA law school, you can sit for the bar in California, but then it's up to the other state, whatever that other state is that you're considering, what their eligibility requirements are for you to sit for the bar. Some states, they generally all require that you be in practice for some time, and then that amount of time varies from state to state. So sometimes they will require that if you graduated from a CBA school, you need to be a practicing attorney for 5 years before you can sit for the bar in a particular state. And that's just an example. And each individual state has their own particular eligibility requirements to sit for their bar. So if you are planning to leave the state of California and you don't want to work remotely, because now that's such a huge option that you can actually be located in another state and still be a California attorney. But if you have other plans, then that's a huge consideration. So these are just some of the considerations that I noted for the difference between the ABA and the CBA. And I hope this video was helpful, and I hope my puppy wasn't too distraction. I wish I could get him on here. He won't come on here though. Come here, Pooh. Here we go. Let me see. Can you get his big old thing? You hear me, Coach?